This segment of our top 100 games of all time is sponsored by Game Toppers. Game Toppers LLC has more than a few solutions that transform almost any normal table into a sturdy and portable gaming table without breaking the bank. Their Game Toppers 4.0 Kickstarter is launching on October 24th, so be sure to check out all the new products they have coming and stop by GameToppersLLC.com for everything they currently have to offer you, from game toppers to playmats and more.
All right, folks, back by popular demand. Not really. We planned on doing this anyway. We are going to be doing our 100 to 120.
Indeed, 101 to 120. We already did 100.
Yeah, that's true.
Right on.
101 to 120. We were planning on doing this, but some people have been asking us to do it. So we're going to go ahead and do it. This is going to be a continuation of our top 100. However, we are going to be doing more top 10s as well.
Maybe.
No, we will. You don't have a choice.
All right, maybe not.
But anyway, these are the games that just missed our top 100. For one reason or another, we're not going to really explain exactly why this one didn't get in, because we're really going to try to hit these and just move on.
Yep.
So this is simply to give you some more great games, because really we're talking about 120 games altogether from both of us. So 240 games out of thousands upon thousands of games that you can choose from. So these are all good games in our opinion.
Yes.
So take that for what it's worth.
Perfect.
Let's hit it! My number 120. Number 120 is a game called Village Attacks by Grimlord Games.
Nice.
You ever played this?
No.
No?
No.
Oh,
I've heard about it. I've never played it.
Yeah, this has unfortunately got a lot of bad press because the company ran into troubles, and I don't think
that's why I've heard of it.
Yeah, I don't think they've fulfilled everybody's Kickstarter. So
Ouch.
That's an unfortunate thing. This is a really cool game though, where the players take on the aspects of the bad guys, the headless hunter, the vampire lord, and all of this other kind of stuff. And they are holed up in their big bad castle somewhere. You're trying to keep the villagers from taking over, basically. And you're trying to kill all the villagers off and get them out of the way. But there's also some like buffed up villagers that they've hired, like mercenaries, which are harder to take out than the regular run and mill. So this is a really fun game. Village Attacks, my number 120.
Nice. My number 120 was in your top 100, I believe.
Oh.
And this might be in my top 100, except for one flaw, in my opinion. But my number 120 is Steam Watchers.
Oh.
Steam Watchers is a really good game. Beautiful board, beautiful pieces, really good asymmetric teams.
So what's the flaw?
All that kind of thing. The flaw in this game for me is that the poor get poor. The poor get poorer. How's that? This is a game where you need resources to have troops.
Yep.
But if you don't have troops, you can't get more resources. So there is a point, or there's a spot where you could get crushed into a little hole, and you have a really hard time working your way out. Other than that, I love the Archons. I love everything.
Yeah,
else.
I don't think. I mean, it's a flaw in your opinion. I think that was a design choice.
Sure.
I think they did that on purpose. But I absolutely agree with you. I don't like. There are games that have the rich get richer.
Yep.
This isn't really that.
No, it's not.
The poor get poorer.
Yep.
Like you said.
Yep.
So if you're doing poorly, you really have to have a turnaround turn to kind of flip that on its end. And if you never get to that,
or you need some luck where the Steam. I mean, if the Steam don't turn up in the right spot,
right?
Yep.
But I absolutely agree with that. I don't think it it doesn't affect my choice as much because I think it's just.
I
part
still
of the
enjoy
game.
the game. I still like the game.
Yeah,
but
that's good.
Just that one piece.
Good pick.
Yep.
Good pick. My number 119 is a very this really has. I just really enjoyed this game, but really this game normally wouldn't have anywhere to do with my top 100.
Oh no,
at all. Which is why it didn't make it. But I've really enjoyed this game, and it's called Buried Treasure Not
I've never heard about
not buried as in like in the ground, but buried as in like berries, fruit. And you're trying to collect these different kinds of pies, and that's what basically determines how many points you're going to get every round. That's your treasures, yeah. So it's a really fun game. It's a really kind of a brainless game. It's definitely one of those palate cleansers where you can play it in between two other big games. It takes like 15, 20 minutes to play.
Gotcha.
And you just clean it. But it's fun, and it's got that campy little theme to it that everybody was like, oh, that's cute, you know, that kind of thing. So that's my number 119 buried treasure.
Nice. My number 119 was also in your top 100.
That's going to happen a lot.
And that's a Gray Fox Games. I don't think so, maybe some, but that's a Gray Fox game. And you're trying to area control Midgard. It's called Ragnaroks. Ragnaroks is a really fun game. It did replace Santorini for me. I like the mechanisms of this, but really you have a grid. Your Vikings go into one spot, and then you're shooting off a little pillar of stone that kind of blocks space, and you're really just trying to block off space to take chunks for yourself. So
he's just trying to settle his little part of the world.
Yep, that's right.
And just leave him alone.
And if I can put some rocks over there to smash you into your little part of the world, I will. But Ragnaroks is really quite fun.
Yeah, that's a great game.
Yep.
All right, my number 118 has probably one of the best storage systems, storage solutions in the box that you could possibly think of back in its day.
Oh.
Nowadays, a lot of the companies have picked up on the importance of a good storage solution in a box, especially one that has a whole bunch of components. Wasteland Express delivery service.
I want to play this one.
Man, I tell you what,
this one.
It's a super fun game, but on top of that, it's got one of the best storage solutions that a game has had. And it's like one of the first that really kind of leaned into those game trays storage solutions. And game trays has just been hitting it out of the park ever since. But this is a really fun, like post-apocalyptic, Mad Max kind of theme that's wrapped around it. And it's basically just a pick up and deliver type of game. But
it looks quite
it's
fun.
got a lot of fun stuff
theme.
that's in there. Great theme. Great artwork, gritty artwork. Not like
I like
beautiful,
that gritty artwork.
but it's gritty, but it looks good. So that's my number 118, Wasteland Express delivery service.
Nice. My number 118 is Legendary Encounters, an Alien deck building game, and the Alien one in particular. There's Marvel. It's not called Marvel. What's the base one called? The original one. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I always call it Marvel Legendary.
Oh, maybe. Yeah. Okay. Marvel Legendary or whatever else. I like the Alien one the best. The reason that it's not in my top 100, because it's a really fun game and I love the Alien franchise. The reason it's not in my top 100 is just the fiddliness of setting up any scenario. So there's a lot of work to get set up. But after that, it's super fun. Play through the different Alien movies, basically card drafting and deck building. And, yeah.
I get it. That's a super good pick. Well done. All right, my number 117. Number 117, my former boss designed this game, Benoit, and it is called Mythic Battles Pantheon. Now, Mythic Battles Pantheon used to be a Mythic, a co-publication between Monolith and Mythic.
Yeah.
So much so that people used to think Mythic and Monolith were kind of the same company. They aren't. But
I was one of those people at one point.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was. I really did think they were.
This was actually the first time that I played this at a game. I think it was either this game or it was Joan of Arc. One of the two was the first time I met the guys from Mythic. And this is a great game that has some wonky dice mechanisms, but once you get a hold of it and once you understand it, it's got some great miniatures, and it's a great arena-style battling game where you take your team that you can build up against whatever team that your opponent brings to the table. And there's so many different things that you can do in the building of your team. That's where the game really sings. But I just really enjoy this game. I'm bummed that I didn't get on board with the Ragnarok version of it.
Oh, yeah.
Mythic Battles Ragnarok. I just missed it. And I don't know if I'm ever going to get it at this point.
Find it, yeah.
But that is my number one. What is it? 117?
117.
Mythic Battles Pantheon.
My number 117 is a 2-player game, head-to-head. It's called Mythic Mischief.
Yeah.
Mythic Mischief is a really cool game where you're this little faction of, snotty teenager monsters, basically. That's really what you are. You can be the vampires or the witches or the ghosts or whatever else, but you're trying to... They got the Tome Keeper, which is the librarian, walking around this library, and you can move walls, and, he has paths that he's going to take, and really you're trying to get the other kids caught. And whoever has 10 mischief points at the end of or whoever gets 10 mischief points first wins. And there's different ways to do that, but you get to level up your abilities as well, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, it's a really fun game, and really cute little miniatures and everything else. But yeah, super fun.
That's cool. I see a lot of people playing this. I've never played it before, but I see people playing it all the time, and it's always been intriguing.
Really cool.
All right, my number 116 is a game called Rumus. There was a reprinting of it that changed it to, oh my gosh, I can't remember the name of it. I think it was it was one of the Bloku games, Blockus games, and they kind of just put 3D on it or something like that, because Blockus was two-dimensional, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yeah, I like Blockus, actually.
But they turned this into Blockus 3D. But this version is like the precursor to that version. It's really the same game, but it's really cool because you're building usually it's a 3D puzzle that you're building with just these 3D like Tetris shapes.
Yep.
And you usually have a pattern as you're looking down, and it's how many points you score from top down.
From
and
top. Yep.
I really enjoy it. I really enjoy it a lot. And it's on this little Lazy Susan board so you can kind of move it around and look at the board from every different angle that you could before you make your choices. I really enjoy this game, and it's just kind of hung around around my top 100, but it's just fun. And I enjoy it. So that's my number 116, Rumus.
Very nice. My number 116, crazy enough, call me crazy, is a party game, which is not really my cup of tea. But my number 116 is So Clover. So Clover is so much fun. It doesn't matter who you play it with. You're writing down, you get cards, then they connect, and then you're writing down on the outside of the clover clues for those cards, and then everybody else has to try to put those cards in order. It's just super fun. Absolutely love this game. Play it all the time. My family loves it. Mel's family loves it. It's just enjoyable. He doesn't like it so much.
I don't like it.
It frustrates him to watch people guessing.
Yes, it does. It absolutely does. But this is a game that I really wanted to like because having an Irish heritage, I wanted that four-leaf clover, look
that's
to it.
Enough connection.
It's a connection.
Yeah, come on, that's not enough.
But I wanted to like it, but sadly, he taught us to it he taught it to us one day, and I was just like, yeah,
drives him crazy, and I like it. I think it's funny when people are guessing wrong, so I'm on the other side of that coin. But
understood. All right, my number 115. This is my favorite way to play Codenames, and that is to say, this is the only way that I enjoy playing Codenames, and that is Codenames Pictures.
Oh, nice.
Codenames Pictures is the only way that I really enjoy Codenames because I can't stand staring at a group of words for a long time. And you might say, well, Codenames isn't that long of a game. No, any amount of time where I'm just staring at words, that's too long. But Codenames Pictures kind of brings into it a kind of a cooperative Dixit vibe for me. And that's why I like Codenames Pictures. I just never could wrap my head around wanting to stare at words, but I can stare at pictures.
The reason you don't like So Clover is almost the same reason why I don't like Codenames. Is because it drives me crazy when the person on the other side that's on my team gives me a one-word clue over and over and over and over again. I just want to punch them.
Yeah.
So I do like Codenames Duet, though, because that one's much more competitive. Maybe that's because my wife is super smart, so we get like real clues from each other, but at least I can count on her. But I cannot stand when people give you a one-word or one-picture clue.
So you don't like just one either then?
Huh?
You don't like just one?
No, it's different because you're on teams against the other team, right?
Yeah,
And they're like doing nice 2 and 3 word clues. And then
you're talking about
your teammate, and they're
you're talking about just one where they say a word and then one.
One.
Oh, yeah.
That drives me crazy.
You're playing with the wrong people. Then.
Yeah, I'm playing with the wrong people. That drives me absolutely nuts. Don't give me one. If you can't do at least 2.
So that's my number 115. Number 115, Codenames Pictures.
Yep, right on. My number 115 is one of the tightest Euro games that I've ever played in my life, and this is Merv. Heart of the Silk Road is what it's called. Merv.
M-E-R-V?
M-E-R-V. Merv is...
Never heard of this.
At the point, Merv is like the center of the connection between the East and the West, and you're being attacked by Mongols. And in the whole game, you have like 12 turns. Like total of 12 turns.
Wow.
It's super tight, yeah. And you have this grid, like 5x5 grid, I believe, of all these different buildings, and those buildings go to separate actions on the board. You're trying to become like an influential house, but at the same time, you're trying to build walls around the city, because if you don't have walls or soldiers protecting your buildings, when the Mongols come at the end of the certain rounds, they wipe out every building within 2 spaces of the edge of the, that doesn't have a wall protecting it or a soldier protecting it. So it is super tight. You have very little time. Everything means so much. It's a really cool game. It's a really beautiful game. But man, is it tight.
I've never heard of it before.
It's really cool.
Do you own it?
Yes.
Okay, cool. We'll have to try it out. My number 114 is a solo game.
Ooh, I like
What? Woohoo! Say what? Yeah, it's Resist.
Oh, you like it?
The new one from 25th Century Games. It's a solo game, so it would. I haven't finished playing it. I haven't finished, but man, it's so hard.
Is it a campaign game?
Yes, and it's also scenario driven.
So sequential scenarios.
Yeah.
Or?
Well, it's that you can do either one. You can play any
gotcha.
scenario you want, or you can play them in order for campaigns.
Mm-hmm.
It's so hard. I can see myself getting frustrated with it, and that's why one of the reasons why I haven't played it. So I also haven't played it in a while because there's so much else going on.
Yeah.
So there's that, but I liked it, and
I want to play it.
That alone put it on my radar for the top 100.
Yep.
Because it's a solo game, only solo game. You don't have any other. You can't play it any other way, and it's fun. I enjoyed it. So that's my number one. What are we at? 114?
114.
Resist.
Nice. You're going to lend this one to me so I can play it eventually. My number 114 is an older card game. A very simple card game. No, it's not simple. It seems to be simple, but it's called For Sale. In For Sale, you just very simply have to buy buildings and sell them back. But there's much more depth to that. There's much more, bidding and stuff to that, and timing for sales to make sure you're selling at the right time. Mm-hmm. This is a really cool card game. Yep. There's really not a lot to it, but it really expands on itself. It's a big game in a small box.
That Friday night that we went over to that church over by where you live for their game night, we actually taught this to a couple people.
Nice.
And that's one of the cool things about the game is exactly what he said. There is so much depth to this game on the choices and timing your choices properly, but it's so easy to teach.
Yep.
You can teach this to anybody, and you can watch their face kind of light up as they really begin enjoying the game.
Yep.
And then when you go to round 2, it's like the same thing, and you can see the relief that you're not about to teach them more rules.
Yep.
Oh, it's such a great game.
Yep.
Good choice. My number 113 is in the Commands and Colors system of games. And it is the Civil War, U.S. Civil War version, Battle Cry. Now, this one didn't make the top 10 because it is, in my opinion, out of the ones that I enjoy, the ones that have miniatures, I don't like the blocks. I don't like the blocks from like Command and Colors Ancients, Command and Colors Napoleonics, and all that kind of stuff. I don't like the blocks. So putting those aside, this is probably my least favorite out of all of them, but I still own it.
But it's still like it that much.
Yeah. I still enjoy it. It's just got a couple of cards that are super, super, super powerful. And if you get that card, the possibility of you winning the game is high. I really enjoy it. I enjoy the Command and Color system. I don't prefer the blocks. Usually I'll play any of the other ones that have miniatures on it just because that's a personal choice for me. But this one is Battle Cry from the U.S. Civil War.
Nice. You just put all your blocks in a line and you start flicking until most of them fall down. That's how they did it in Civil War. You just stand in two lines 50 feet from each other and start firing.
Yeah, that's true. That's what they did.
I know.
That's what they did.
All right. And I still missed. I don't know.
Sometimes.
But, all right. My number 113, we're on 113, yes, is King Domino. More specifically, King Domino Origins. And the only reason for Origins is, King Domino is a great game. You're getting the tiles. You got the little crowns on there. Origins, if you haven't played that, is pretty cool because it has volcanoes on there. And when you place a volcano, the volcano shoots off fire. And the fires work as crowns. So you actually get to put fire in different places, which now become crowns. Or the same thing as crowns. So you have that little bit extra...
Yeah.
It gives you that little bit extra to think about and for your scoring. And then it has a couple modules that come with it where it adds resources and little people and stuff, but little cavemen and things. But just the base, just having the ability to put fire out and create your own crowns is really cool.
That is cool. I really enjoy King Domino. I need to try this.
Yep.
Good choice. My number 112 is Zulareto. Zulareto is basically you are trying to, you're managing your own zoo, and you're trying to populate the different pens in your zoo with different animals, and you get bonuses for having certain sets of this and certain sets of that. You can expand it. This is kind of like Baron Park 0.5. It's before Baron Park came out, and this is like a precursor to Baron Park, but it's different because Baron Park is only about putting out the actual like attraction pens.
Yeah.
You're actually trying to fill in those pens with animals, and the draft of which is where you get your animals, your animal tokens. There's a bunch of these truck tiles out there, and they get filled with these different tiles, and you're actually putting tiles into the truck, but instead of putting a tile in a truck, you can just take a truck and that becomes yours. Yeah. Cool. And then you take those things out. So there's a lot of, and you place them into the pens where you want them to go. I really enjoy it. And it's showing its age at this point.
Yeah.
But it's one of those that are just kind of stuck around.
Right. I'd rather play Dinosaur Island. Anyways, all right, that was your 112. My number 112 is a game that you taught me, and really, I need to play it more to have a chance to get in the top 100, I guess, and that is Kingsburg. Kingsburg is one of those games.
Dice placement.
There are certain games where the first time you play it, you're like, oh yeah, I mean, it just gets the synapses firing. Like, I like this game. I've only played Kingsburg once, but I love that dice placement. You're building buildings that increase your abilities. And you have to get troops and things like that. But I really liked Kingsburg. Yeah,
that's good. That's a great game. Great game. All right, my number 111 is a game called Kodinka. Kodinka is by Backspindle Games, and it is just a abstract strategy game where you have a number of cards in your hand that will have different patterns on them, and you're trying to get your colored pieces into those different patterns, and the person who can do that first is the winner. But there are nuances to how you can move your pieces around and switch them and flip them around and all of that kind of stuff. There's 2 different sides to them, and the patterns that are on your cards will have either the one side or the other side. One side's white and the other one's gold, I think.
Oh.
So you have to get your pieces on the board in those patterns on the right sides before the other person does, and it's a race to get three done first.
Yikes.
But it's got really nice chunky bake-like tiles for the pieces.
I think
it's
I've
really
seen
nice.
it. Yeah.
So it's a really small game. It's one of those what I would consider probably a backpack game, because you can just put it in a Ziploc bag really and carry it around. I really enjoy this game, and it's been a favorite of mine for a while. So that's my number 111, Kodinka.
All right. My number 111 is a tile placing game based on cards that are being flipped. And you'd think it's easy, but it's not. And that's called My City. My City is a great game from Cosmos, Reiner Knizia. But it's just tile placement, and it has a campaign mode or whatever else. But every time you play... A legacy game, right? So every time you play, you're placing these tiles, but you're placing them on how that deck flips over, and you have to, place them in the order and keep them touching and everything else. And it's a really interesting puzzle.
Yeah.
It is really interesting puzzle, a lot thinkier than you might imagine, but it's super fun.
Yep, but it's also super easy as well.
It is, yeah.
You can basically make it as complex as you want it to be.
Yep.
Based on what you're trying to do and how you're trying to do it. Or you can just, I'm just going to place this here, see how that works, and that kind of thing. So I think because of that, it kind of spans a lot of different play types and play ages and styles. So it's really good.
Yep.
So my number 110 is a game called, it's by Capstone Games, called Irish Gauge. And this is a game where you are, it's kind of a stock market train game, and it's in Ireland. And that's one of the main reasons that I was drawn to it to begin with. And I played it thinking that it was just going to be too complex and too heady and too, like most of the train games that have come out.
Yep.
They're all really complicated. This one is not. It's super simple. But it's really fun, and that's what I like. It's about the extent of what I want to be doing in a stock market type of game, because I'm not a huge fan of having to do math all the time, and this one works. Yeah. This one doesn't overstay its welcome in that area, in my opinion. So that's my number 110, Irish Gauge.
Irish Gauge. I thought you were going to gauge your ears or something. All right, my number 110 is a cute little game, although it comes in a tin, which games should not come in tins, even when they're thematic like this one. But this is a game called Fallout Shelter. Fallout Shelter is a really cool Euro game, worker placement game, where you're each creating your famous shelter from Fallout that has multiple levels.
Yeah.
You're putting buildings in there, and as you're putting them in there, each of them is worker placement spots. So you're gaining tiles or cards really to build out your shelter, which gives you more worker placement spots. And at the same time, the little critters from actual Fallout, like the rad roaches and things like that, they're on clear cards, and they will invade your place, and then you have to attack them to fight them off. And it's cool because they're clear, so you can still see the card underneath, but the worker placement spot is blocked until you just destroy that. But that's cool. It's a really cute little game. All the little meeples look like the little the different little guys from Fallout Shelter, and but it's a really nice, really tidy little Euro game.
Sounds like just the one part of the game of Resurgence where you're building out your thing, and those become.
Yep.
So that's cool. All right, my number 109. My number 109 is a game called Blitz Bowl. Blitz Bowl is the coffee table version of Blood Bowl from Games Workshop, and this one was, I think, initially exclusively released in Barnes & Noble and that kind of thing. So that's kind of the idea that, or the category, the demographic that they were going after with this. They took their big Blood Bowl game, which is huge and sprawling. It's what Games Workshop does, and they condensed it down into a board that's like a fraction of the size of a Blood Bowl board, but it's still the same basic kind of actions, and that's why I like Blitz Bowl better than Blood Bowl. I know Blood Bowl has a huge following. A lot of people, miniature gamers, love playing that game, and I totally get it. I just don't have the time for that kind of a lifestyle game.
Yep.
Blitz Bowl scratches that same itch, which is why it's on this list.
Nice.
So my number 109, Blitz Bowl.
That is a cool pick, actually. Very cool pick. My number 109 is another 2-player game. In this game, you're collecting salt and pepper and dates, I think. It's called Targi. Okay. Targi's a really cool game. It's kind of a funny theme, right? Collecting dates and salt and pepper. But Targi's a really cool game, and what makes it really cool is the action selection, because you're based on this grid that surrounds resources, and I can't think of the name of the other kind of card. But you're playing 2 different spots, like on an X and Y axis, and then you're getting the actions where they connect, plus the actions that they land on. And there's this little robber that runs around the board that blocks spaces, but he also raids and takes from you materials and things like that. But it's just a really fun 2-player game. It's really crunchy. It's, you're blocking and trying to get things that the other player's not doing. And then the other cool mechanism is the cards on the inside. Like if it's a resource card, once you take that card as an action, then it gets replaced by the other type of card, which so there's this balance back and forth. Just a really fun 2-player game.
That's cool.
Where you get to collect dates.
Targi's been in a lot of people's lists for a long time.
And dates are yucky, by the way.
All right, my number 108 is another game by Restoration Games. They did the redo of Buried Treasure earlier, but this one is called Fire Island, The Curse of Volcar. And this is a really neat, I'm going to call it a dexterity game even. It's a take that dexterity game, because you're trying to flick like these fireballs and these boulders down to knock other people off their tracks, but you're trying to collect a number of souvenirs and a number of I can't even remember, like relics and that type of stuff to get off the board before the island blows up, to get on the helicopter to flee. But it's a really fun game, and the toy factor of this game is off the freaking charts.
That's a toy, not a game.
It is a toy that you can play a game on
not
or
my
with.
Cup of tea.
It is so fun. Now, don't get me wrong, it is not a nice game. No. It is a super cutthroat game, and you will probably piss some people off as you're playing it, because you will destroy everything that they've just been trying to do. But you got to come at it with that kind of just camp. It's almost like a party game.
Yeah, it's a party game.
You can't come at it with the idea of trying to just have fun. Just have fun, and that's what I like. Fireball Island, The Curse of Volcar. It's just great time. That's my number 108. Is that what it is?
It's a great time till you get mad.
That's true.
All right.
Just don't get mad. You mad, bro?
Yeah, maybe. My number 108 is my second Roll-In, right? Which is kind of crazy because they're not my favorite style of game. But this one's really good. And that is Welcome to the Moon. I have never played the normal Welcome to the Moon.
I wondered if that was in the same series. All right.
Yeah, cool. It is in the same series. This one is space themed, and it's pretty cool because it comes in 8 different boards, and the 8 different boards tell a story. From the first board, it's a roll and right. You're rolling dice, and then you're filling in whatever mechanic is based on the board. But the first one, you're filling in your spaceship. You're following criteria to put fuel and people and gear and whatever else in there. And then the second one, you're flying your spaceship, in space, and the rules change, and your dice mean different things. But it's just a really cool, having those 8 different boards, and they're all really quite interesting. So yeah, it's a good one.
I enjoyed Welcome to the original one, where you're just basically like buying properties and flipping them or something like that. I can't remember exactly it is, but I enjoyed that, so I'd like to try this one.
Yeah, this one's quite fun.
All right, my number 107. This game called Takanoko. Takanoko is a really cool thing, and I'll be honest with you, the panda and the little farmer miniatures are what brought this one.
They have a new Kickstarter out right now.
Do they?
Yeah, with little colored pandas, and the stocks are all beautiful. Yeah, it's like the deluxe.
Wow. See, I remember seeing the $300 version back in the day, because they did a deluxe version of this.
Oh, maybe
back in the day, came in a big old wooden box.
Oh yeah,
came in a big old wooden box, had a huge freaking panda. Or maybe it was a farmer or something like that. I don't know what it was, but
I swear they're having a new Kickstarter.
But this one, I think the one that I have still has like wooden bamboo shoots and stuff like that. Not really nice pieces.
Yeah, they're all have really nice pieces.
Yeah. But I just really I enjoy this game just for the coolness factor of how it looks on the board. Yep. Didn't make my top 100 because I haven't played it for a while. But I still have it, and I still desire to own it, so that's why it was considered, at least.
Yeah, I've almost picked this one up a lot of times, but I've never for I don't know for what reason, but it looks cool. It looks really good. Yeah,
very cool.
My number 107 is a Stan Kordonsky game called Dice Hospital.
Oh, that's a good one.
Dice Hospital. You're drafting little ambulances full of dice. You're bringing them to your hospital. You're bringing on.
You're letting some of them die.
You have an administrator, and you have your hospital rooms. Every round, you're either drafting. I can't remember what they're called, but a new person to help, or a new room to treat patients in. And really, you're trying to get all of your dice that you have, all of your patients, up to a 7. So you need to get them to 6, and then get them to 7 so that they leave your hospital. That's how you get points. And all of the people you have in the rooms you have are just multiple ways to manipulate the dice to get them to that point. And the funny thing is, like you said, if you don't treat a patient every round, at least some kind of treatment, then they tick down. They get worse, and you do get little skull and crossbones when they die. So it happens, or it can happen.
They tick down.
They do. They go from a 2 to a 1, and a 1 to a no longer here.
Pushing up daisies.
Yeah, pushing up daisies. But 107, Dice Hospital.
All right, my number 106 is one of the first games that really kind of turned me on to the idea of having variable player powers. And that is a game called Smash Up. Smash Up is where you can take 2 different decks that are from 2 different factions and smash them together to make a unique faction based on, and you can take those 2 factions and put them with other things to make other different kinds of factions, and you're scoring points based on a majority, having a majority at these different bases that are on the table, and those bases fire off when a number of power is reached. So it's a really mathy game from that aspect, and I don't really enjoy it so much for that reason, because there is a lot of like calculation and tabulation and mathematics that goes on to figure out when a thing fires and all that, like who's first, second, and third, and all that kind of stuff. But the variable player power of matching those factions together is really why it's even considered for my top 100. But I really enjoy it, and they have so many different factions out there.
Yeah, tons.
The possible combinations are I would say they're. Well, everything is limited, right? But we'll use the word limitless, because I don't think you'll ever play all of the different combinations that are out there. There's so many.
You really have to. That's one of those games you really have to invest in. Maybe you don't have to invest in it, but most people would. If they love it, they invest in it a lot.
They just keep buying those factions, because that's really where the game sings.
Yep. All right, my number 106. And to be fair, I mentioned this one in my stats video before we played the game we played last week, so I'm not cheating on this one. But my number 106 is the 2-player card game Jekyll and Hyde. And we just played the cooperative version of that, which is even better than the competitive version. But I really enjoy Jekyll and Hyde. I like the 2-player. I like trick-taking games anyways. The fact that one of you is trying to be Dr. Jekyll and make sure that each of you get 5 tricks on your turn. Like there's 10 cards in the hand. You want them to have 5, and you want to have 5. You want to be perfectly balanced. While the Mr. Hyde character wants to make a big separation there so he can move down a track. And it's basically changing your personality. The track is you start out as Dr. Jekyll, and the more Mr. Hyde complicates that or makes your tricks separate differently, you're going to move down the track until you become Hyde. And
permanently.
He only has, I think he has 3 rounds to get you there. But the way the game's really played is he tries to get you to the end, and then you switch positions, and you try to get them to the end. And it's whoever gets closest or
that's cool.
keeps it far enough away.
I like that.
Yep.
I like that. That's how you're actually supposed to play Memoir 44 as well.
Yeah, play
you
both
always
sides.
play twice.
Yep.
You always play twice, and whoever has the biggest differential is the winner.
And this is the Vincent Dutrait artwork game that I had in this that I talked about during that one video. So
Gotcha. All right, my number 105 is one of my favorite hidden movement one versus all games, and that is called Spectre Ops. Ooh. Spectre Ops is a really enjoyable experience for me. I do enjoy being the person that's moving around in the dark.
I think most people do.
Yeah, I don't necessarily enjoy having to work with everybody else and trying to corner that one person. But I really enjoy the other side of it, where you're trying to be the person who's trying to get out, which is why it's not on the top 100, is because I don't really enjoy both sides of it, but I really, really enjoy being that hidden movement character of the person that's trying to get out of the corporation after having done whatever sabotage I was in there. Right. So that's my number 105, Spectre Ops.
My number 105, I guess I would consider one of the OG city builders.
Oh.
And that is Suburbia.
Oh.
Suburbia is a really cool...
Such an ugly game.
It is an ugly game. It's the ugliest game you can ever imagine. And they came out with a big, deluxe, super expensive version that I couldn't bring myself to buy because what the hell. But sorry, I didn't say that. But Suburbia still is such a great game. Placing tiles, creating districts, and you got to don't put your houses by your airports, and don't do this. And, it's such a nice. And the other cool thing is you have a population track, but as your population goes up and up and up, your income and your upkeep costs more and more and more to take care of your city, to maintain your city. So that's a really cool balance. Suburbia is just a really neat.
I get it. It was a good game. It was just so ugly.
It's very ugly.
So ugly. That's what it just turned me. It just turned me off completely. So it is a good game, 100%. But it's ugly.
Yep.
All right, my number 104 is another dexterity game where you are flicking penguins around a high school. Get it? High school, ice school?
An ice school.
A high school, but that's the play on words because you're all teenage penguins in their
Flicking
high
each
school.
other.
You're trying to skip class to go get a snack without the hall monitor catching you.
What's it called?
Ice Cool.
Oh, ice. Oh, yeah.
Ice Cool.
Ice Cool. I knew that.
And it's just a really fun game. I usually don't like dexterity games.
I don't like dexterity games.
I don't like dexterity games at all. But this one is really fun because you're flicking your dude around, and you can actually flick it in such a way to make it jump over walls instead of having to curve around. You can flick it a certain way and have it curve, and it's fun. I'm not very good at it.
You know why I don't like dexterity games? I don't want to.
Because you're not good at it.
No, actually, I'm pretty good at it. Actually, I don't like dexterity games because people flick my pieces off the table or across the room for no reason.
Well,
it annoys me that people can't play on a board. Within the constraints of the game, people get too rowdy and.
Well, here's the thing: Ice Cool has borders.
Don't do it.
Ice Cool has borders on it. So for you to flick it off the table, you've really done something wrong.
Or you're just screwing around with my cool board game.
Well, that's true too. But that's a talk before you start the game. That's what that is.
Don't flick my pieces too
But
hard.
I really enjoy this. It's a really fun game. It's a really fast game as well. And it's one of those levelers. I call them a leveler because adults can play against kids.
Sure.
And you won't always dominate. Sometimes the kids will just hit that perfect.
Sure.
Perfect flick, and it just goes boom, and they get 2 of their fish. It's just a really fun game. I enjoy it a lot. Ice School.
Fair enough. That was number 104, right?
Yes, sir.
My number 104 is a tile drafting game that's fairly new, actually 2022, yes, called Acropolis. I bought Acropolis after playing Cascadia and liking it so much, and then hearing about Acropolis. First time I played Acropolis was this year. Dice Tower Cruise, I taught it. I learned it and taught it. And it's not a hard game to learn or teach, but it's really cool. You're each building a little city. You know, it's got all kinds of placement rules. You have height and depth. You're drafting from a group of tiles, and you're paying stone. But to get stone, you got to cover quarries. It's just a really nice balance, nice blend, fun game, just like Cascadia. It's very much on that same kind of level.
Yeah, Cascadia is 2D, and this one, the differentiating factor for me, this one is 3D. It has that 3D aspect of leveling up your city, whereas Cascadia is just 2D.
Sure.
And that's one of the things I really like about Acropolis, is that you can put that second and third levels on your city. So that's a good one.
Yep.
All right, my number 103 is a party game. And this one is called Green Team Wins.
I haven't played this one yet.
Oh, dude, it's fun.
I've seen a lot of people play it.
Yeah.
I know you guys talk about it a lot.
Yeah,
I haven't played this one
it's
yet.
fun. It's one of those things where you're trying to get that group think going.
Opposite of just one.
Yes, it is. It is actually. It's the opposite. So, but if you get that group thing going, that's how you score points, and that's how everybody else is scoring points. And at the point, you're trying to think, well, how can I be different with enough people so that we keep scoring points, but those people who are scoring a lot of points, they're starting to be a real rival. How can I keep them from scoring points but still score points because we're getting our own group thing going? And I just really enjoy it. It has three different levels.
Good.
Or 3 different categories, premises that you have to answer. There's like a best of 3 of this or that, and then there's just what's the best of whatever this, whatever category it is. But I really enjoy it. It's very fun. Green Team Wins.
So we both put party games in this one.
Yeah. Well, they didn't. I mean, we're both not,
we're not stooges.
Party gamer type people.
No. All right, my number 103. I have a lot of 2-player games in this set for some reason.
You play a lot of 2-player games.
I do play a lot of 2-player games. But my number 103 is a really good 2-player worker placement Euro game. Or not worker placement, Euro game, and that is Beer and Bread.
Oh, wow.
I like Beer and Bread. It is so tight. It's so... it's all hand management and card drafting and drafting at the right time, and these multi-use cards that are good for so many different things.
Yep.
Just super tight, super fun, and quick.
I bought this at Zulu's Board Game Cafe on recommendation from one of their staff because, first of all, it's a 2-player game, and it's a capstone game. Capstone is usually known for, or at least in the past, they've been known for their kind of more heavier, meatier games. And this one is supposed to be like a meaty 2-player game.
Sure.
And it really does kind of weigh up to it. But it's not so meaty and so weighty that it kind of takes away from it for me.
Right.
I know you love that kind of stuff.
Doesn't slow down. I do,
It doesn't slow down at all. It's very back and forth.
Yeah, it's another one of those games where, like Kingsburg, when the first time I played it, I was like, ooh, baby.
Yeah.
I like it. So,
yeah.
Yep, that's a really cool game.
Good one. All right, my number 102 is Ink and Gold. Ink and Gold. Ink and Gold is, first of all, it's got a really cool, like, Indiana Jones vibe, delving into the deepest, darkest dungeons type of thing to get as much treasures as you possibly can and make it back to the camp. But it's a really cool push your luck game where you're trying to get as far as into the cave or dungeon as you possibly can, but you're meeting these different like snakes and spiders and big bad guys and all this kind of stuff, and you're trying to withstand all of that for as long as possible, so that you have more gems than everybody else does.
Nope.
And if you can manage to go back to the camp by yourself, then you get extra treasures as you go through. It's a really cool.
People on their way out.
Yep, you're basically not really tripping people, but you're just trying to be the one that's not going to keep going forward and do that alone, and you get a bonus for doing that. But I just really enjoy this game. I've got kind of a blinged out copy as well that I've kind of held on to over the years, and I enjoy it a lot. So that's my number 102.
102.
Ink and Gold.
All right, so my number 102 is where I start to cheat. I'm sorry. My number 102 is a game that was in your top 100 that I forgot about. That probably should have been in my top 100.
Yeah.
But it landed here just because of that reason, and that is Rurik: Dawn of Kiev.
Oh, good one.
Rurik is a really cool game.
Yeah.
The bidding for your actions and the fact that you might get the high point of the action, which is much better, but the cheaper actions get to go first. And so that, affects the board state by the time it gets to you.
Yep.
All of that's just a really cool system.
Yeah,
it's one that I forgot in my top 100. And so it definitely deserves to be here at 102.
Cool. That's two Kordonsky games.
In
these
Kordonsky.
20.
Yep.
So that's cool. All right, finally, my number 101 is a food game.
A food game?
Food game.
Food game magnet.
Bro, not even close. This one is called Wasabi.
Oh,
Wasabi, where you
wasabi?
are. Yeah, wasabi. No, wasabi. Stop. We sounded super white when we said that.
That's
we shouldn't
okay.
have done that. Wasabi is you have a bunch of different menus that you're trying to fulfill of different sushi platters. And you're trying to build that based off of this grid that's out there, and it's really fun. You're placing tiles onto this grid, and once you get a certain order that matches one of your menu items, then you can score that card, and it's just a really fun game.
Nice.
You get wasabi cubes that are worth extra points for you, and all this other kind of stuff. It's just a really cool game. I like the components that they have. Those little plastic dishes that are like the soy sauce dishes.
Soy sauce dishes.
And it's just a really great game. Has great components. I mean, it's basically just a bunch of cardboard tiles with a few extra really cool components added in there. Really fun though.
You're number 101. What did the sushi say to the bee? Wasabi.
Oh man.
All right, my number 101 is
one.
my second cheat. And the only reason it's a cheat is because I didn't play this game
If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying.
That's right.
Guess.
I didn't play this game until after I had completed my top 100 list.
Ooh.
And then I played it several times in a row, and this game is fantastic, and that is Earth. It's a brand new game this year. Earth is a fantastic tableau building, engine building, action selection game. So freaking good. So good.
If you like Terraforming Mars, listen to him. If you don't like Terraforming Mars, stay away from this game.
No, this game is smooth as butter. So freaking fun.
It has so much going on.
It has a lot of different ways to score.
I've played it once.
A lot of different balance between all those different ways to score.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just so much fun.
So much going on in this game. I felt like I had just put in a few hours at work after I played this game.
No. You played it wrong.
No, I didn't.
This game is amazing.
The people that taught, and Matt did a great job teaching the game. I just halfway through the game, I was like, this is not for me. Not for me at all. But I get it. It's a good design. That's not for me.
I bought dirt for it. I bought little dirt cubes and dirt pails so you can have soil. Yeah. It has some pretty cool pieces and everything else, but the soil comes out little cardboard chips.
Yeah.
So I'm getting rid of those. I got these cool little dirt cubes. I almost thought about 3D printing it, but this was such a cool set, I just got it instead.
Yeah, that's cool.
But
well, there you have it. That's our 120 to 101 to tack on to the end of our top 100. So thanks for joining us. We certainly appreciate it. I'll have all of these listed for you on the lists coming up in just a few seconds. So thank you for watching all of these segments. Hope you enjoyed this one as well. We'll have more top 10 lists coming up later on down the road. So hold on to your hats. We'll see you later.
On the flip side.
I was waiting for you to say something.
On the flip side.
We'll see you guys and gals on the flip side.
Take it easy.
Take care. We'll see you later.